Good evening. I'm Annie Zargan, and I'm honored to be here tonight. I'm honored to introduce my mother to you. We're about to enter her world, a world where she will tell you, as if it's a story of any young woman's years, with calm, with precision, about hardships and loss. We'll hear about moments where life meant something so foreign, a meaning that our children will hopefully never know. But my mother is remarkable, for her world is such that in spite of these hardships she's endured, in spite of the loss of her mother, her sister, her home, her community, her childhood, in spite of all this, you will hear from a woman whose world, the world where some might say the glass is heaven, that glass is 100% full. It took me many years to figure out and understand how this could be so. For those of you who do know her, you will agree that my mother is an extraordinary woman. On occasion, she's been confused with the Energizer Bunny. She has great spirit, and she continues to fill every day with as much as she can. She loves life. I remember growing up in her home that as a teenager, I would hear my mother and my father both referring now and then to Hitler's attempt to steal their days from them. Each day they lived was a day Hitler tried to take from them. It was a day Hitler did not want them to have. This made each day their own private victory against Nazis. From this private victory has emerged a family of 4 children and 7 grandchildren. Watching her watch us around the dinner table, around the Seder table, surrounded by her children and her grandchildren. It's more than nachas, pride. Can you understand? It's victory. Victory we lived every day to its fullest, and you can see that her glass is indeed very full. My mother, Esther Lederman, will now begin tonight's service with her story.
I'll start with just a little introduction. How would you feel if you had to decide in a moment to leave your home, make a decision what to put into this one bag, leave your community, leave your family, and go, and you don't know where? What would you take? I grew up in a very happy home. I was the older one of 2 girls. We attended a private girls' Jewish day school. Life was good. We spent the summer in the country, and towards the end of the summer, in August, we came home, and we found that the country was preparing for war. The Germans entered my hometown on the 5th of September. I lived in Lodz, was the 2nd largest city in the country. Half of it population was Jewish. After a couple of days, they started showing their face. They were catching people in the street. They were taking Jews with beards, pulling their beards out to their skin, making people do all kinds of unnecessary busy work, sleeping in the streets, picking up dogs, turds with their bare hands. Every morning, somebody was coming in, bandaged, bruised, beaten. One of our professors committed suicide. He couldn't take it. Suicides were happening all the time. Rumors started again. There was no communication. There was no direction. All we had were new announcements of new restrictions and new laws. We're not allowed to have bank accounts. We're allowed to take out only a minimal amount from our savings accounts. Food was getting scarce. They would stand in line for bread. They would send me out to stand for bread because I was a girl. I was almost at the end of the line. I was taken out because I was Jewish. These were little things. He went to his brother's home, his birthplace, to a very small town, and he felt very peace and quiet. And he wanted us to come away with him. My mother refused. My mother refused to leave a big city because she did not want to rear her girls in a small town with a small town capacity. Now, we all have this marvelous capacity of self-delusion. She thought that this is a normal world, and a small town mentality would not fit her children. The world was burning over her head, but she was still stubborn. She would not die. The moment the ghetto was announced, creation of the ghetto was announced. We lived in a very good neighborhood and we knew that we wanted to stay there. Then she finally gave in and we went to this small town. We came to a very small town of 12,000 population. Majority were Jewish. There was no high school there. There was no hospital there. People lived from hand to mouth. Population was swallowed by many refugees from other areas. Some came involuntarily, like we did, and some were evacuated from areas annexed to the Third Reich. We stayed in my uncle's house, in a big house, and we stayed there. Found some friends, teenagers. No, teenagers always find friends. Right? We missed school. Amazing. How can you miss school? But if you're not allowed to go to school, you miss school. Teachers were available, displaced teachers. Books were available because people had textbooks. So teachers created small groups of 6 or 7 kids, and we tried to keep up with our high school curriculum. But we were very eager to learn. We were very hungry for it. And we had companionship of our peers. Among that group, there was one boy, young boy, very good looking, blonde, tall, and very nice. I wanted to be a doctor. Since he couldn't go to school to become a doctor, he worked for the Jewish community as like a medic. They were giving inoculations. Germans did support inoculating the Jewish population, primarily in their own self-defense. They didn't want to get sick. He was also carting sick people from their homes to the infirmary, which was a little dilapidated building. He and there were a few other guys. This position gave me the right to be out after curfew. Curfew was from 8 o'clock in the evening till 6 o'clock in the morning. We had a special armband. By the way, we had to wear armbands with right arm, about 10 centimeters white, with a blue Star of David. And we were not allowed to take it off ever outdoors. Every child, even small infants, had to wear that thing on. But his armband was saying something in Polish, kolumna sanitarna, which means the column of medics. So we would go for walks. And there was no place to go for a walk. There was no park, there was nothing. The only place we could go to was a cemetery, which was on a slight hill. And it was summertime. And we would sit on that cemetery and we would tell each other stories about our childhood, about our dreams, about our desires, about our plans for the future that we knew we had. And we looked out and we saw those peaceful villages of Polish peasants and fields and smoke coming out of the chimneys. Everything was somehow so serene and so peaceful, and such a terrible contrast to the turmoil we had inside us. One day, Esther told me to get some papers, false papers, a Catholic girl, take some pictures, and he would take care of it. So I took some pictures, I gave him the pictures, some money, whatever it was, and forgot all about it. He had money, and my mother was a very fine dressmaker, and the ladies in the area found out, beyond the ghetto, beyond the subscribed area. Actually, this was not a enclosed as a kind of wall. There were certain streets were not allowed to live, and certain streets were not allowed to walk on or be seen on under Kennefield. By then, Kennefield was just very casual. One day, we got an announcement that on the 1st of October, 1942, by that time, we heard rumors. We heard rumors that the ghetto war sets in and people were being put in freight trains and sent someplace to the east. But we didn't really know what was happening. There were rumors that people were taken someplace and soap was made out of them. There were rumors that people were being gas. Impossible. By the 1st of October, there was an announcement that all men of the age of 15 to 45 and women of the age of 15 to 40 had to show up in the marketplace for a selection to a labor camp. My father was selected and I was selected. We had a friend, one of our group, who was a ghetto policeman, a very nice boy. He came by and he took me out of the lineup. I said, oh, I don't know. I came home. My mother and my sister were in tears. What are we going to do? They're mistaken. And so what are we going to do? A few days before, as they came up to the house to say goodbye, he was going, his family was leaving town, going to stay with a Catholic family whom they befriended until things blow over. And I was a little stunned. I asked him where he going. So he told me the name of the people, and he told me the name of the village that they went to. Out of the lineup, I said, oh, I don't know. I came home. My mother and my sister were in tears. What are we going to do? They're mistaken. And so what are we going to do? A few days before, as they came up to the house to say goodbye, he was going, his family was leaving town, going to stay with a Catholic family whom they befriended until things blow over. And I was a little stunned. I asked him where he going. So he told me the name of the people, and he told me the name of the village that they went to. And I didn't pay much attention, but somehow I subconsciously registered this information, and it stayed with me. And it so happened that same evening my papers came through, and the same young man, a policeman by the name of Schillet, came to the house because he could go after me. And he brought me the papers. And we decided, my mom and my sister and I decided that I'll go to those people, the Zals, and ask maybe they could help us. Maybe they could help my mother and my sister. Maybe they could do something to advise us, because we're completely at a loss. He also got me a peasant with a cart and a horse to take me out to the village next morning. Now, this peasant was another angel in my life. I'm sure he knew I was Jewish. I took my band off. He checked my papers, which I knew were not very good. And he took me to the village. It's a few hours here, I said. I knocked on the door, and the lady came out. An older lady, maybe 40 years old. And she said, well, what are you doing here? I said, well, as a veteran told me, Stanley was here, and maybe you could help us, my mother and my sister. Well, she said, the Ledermans are not here. They were here, well, sure enough, but they are on the way to Germany to be attached to a group of Polish workers who work in Germany, which was happening all along. And you cannot stay with us, but you can go to any village and knock on any door. So let us stop and think, why don't you be kind enough and take me in, and I'll help out the house. You know, you become so huge to any finer thought that you just do as you are told and you go. So I went, knocked on the door of his house, and they took me in. It was very nice. There were two teenage girls, and we helped around the house. This was the 2nd of October, and I stayed in the house, and everything was fine. On the 6th of October, on a Tuesday, we're all sitting in the kitchen, and the fire was going on the stove, and it was cool outside. October evenings are cool, and very nice and quiet. And some neighbors came in very agitated, and they said that Munich was cleared out Jews. Munich was the town where my family was. And they took all the Jews out, they put them on carts, and they made them walk where the walk was shut, and the streets and the road was strewn with dead bodies. Now, I sit there, the people around me, there's the stove, and there's the back. I sit in the back of the kitchen. I cannot show any emotion. I cannot show any reaction. I cannot cry. I can do anything. I can't betray myself. So I just sit there, and I know. About 2 days passed or so, and the mayor of the village came in to see the head of the family. I had a feeling it was about me, and it was about me. He said that there was in the village that there's a Jewish girl in this house. If my papers are good, it's okay. I knew my papers were not good, but I put on a very brave face, and I said, well, here are my papers, I'm fine. And he left. And then I thanked my hosts for their hospitality and kindness, and I left with a book. But I walked and I asked, and it was getting dark, but then I asked someone for the road directions to this village, which was called. And a young girl came out, the girl about my age. And here I come to that house and I see a man, an older man in his 40s, with the kindest blue eyes, and his younger brother, who was a cop of him, and this girl, Slavka, who was my age, and this other lady who saw me first time I did. He said, don't worry, we will do things right away. His kindness was eminent. Don't worry, we have connections with the underground, we'll get to take this back. Just don't worry. We'll think of something to help you. Probably we'll see to it that you're attached to a group of young people going to Germany. Just relax. You cannot stay at this house, because someone may have seen you, but we'll go to the forest. Gutman will take you over. The younger son will take you to his younger brother. We'll take you to the forest, and you'll stay the night there. And in the morning, he'll come and we'll have a plan worked out. So I go to the forest with Gutman. They gave me a coat. And I found a clearing, and I lie down with a coat over, and that promised to be back in the morning with food and whatever it is. But I felt no fear. I didn't feel anything. I went to sleep. I know when I wake up and I see there are German soldiers around me with German shepherd dogs, and it's quiet, and they look at me and I look at them, and nobody says anything, and I feel no fear, no pain, nothing. I just look at it. I blink my eyes, shake my head, and there's nothing there. Imagination. So, I spent the day in the forest, and he came in the evening, and he said, he took me to the house again, and he made me stay in the bar. Anyway, I was brought into the attic. There's a trap door in the house, and they made me go upstairs. I go upstairs, I do as I'm told. And the Ledermans were there. They never left. They didn't know what to do with me. They were afraid to take me in, and they were afraid to let me go. Well, when the Germans caught Jews in a general house, the Jews were either taken to concentration camps with the hosts, whose property was burned down, or they were shot on the spot. So the risks were enormous. So of course they were afraid to let me go and to take me in. Mr. Lederman, my future father-in-law, said, she's an orphan Jewish child. Whatever we will eat, she'll eat. Whatever happens to us, happens to her. So he took me in. And so our confinement began. It lasted 22 months. We were given food, shelter, kind work, books, textbooks, literature of the whole world, news from BBC through the underground. We lived in tremendous fear. We were not paralyzed because we functioned, but the fear was never leaving us. We lived in a constant state of alertness. We had night watches because we had to watch not only for the Germans who rarely came to the village, but we had to watch for our compatriots. Our friend Jan, the older brother, was the regional commander of the underground. And there was a time even that we overheard a conversation when there was a meeting of heads of the underground in the area, but there was a group of Jews hiding in the forest. It's time to go and finish them off. Now, Jan could not react. He was afraid to betray the 5 Jews behind the wall. Once there was a rumor there were Jews in the village, and Madame Zals told us in. She was a character by herself. That we will have to go now, leave the house, and scatter, go in different directions. And when things blow over, we'll come back. The Germans will come to the village to look for the Jews. It so happened that Gutman, the younger brother, came in at that moment. He said, well, where will they go? You know, if they leave this house, they can never come back. They'll be found and they'll be killed. Well, a decision was made. We will spend the time in a potato cellar. Then we decided when things were getting closer and closer, we felt towards the end of the war, where we only hoped and prayed that we were making, we knew that we would, I mean, he couldn't win that war, and he was losing it. We just hoped that we would win too. We built a very elaborate bunker. Mr. Lederman was a wonderful architect, and Esther was a wonderful worker, and we all helped. It was dug deep in the ground with an outlet out to the garden for air, and the entrance we would push some, there was some soil, earth, and on top our people would put cages with rabbits just to camouflage us and the odor and the smell. And the Germans did come with the dogs and they never found us. It was 1944 and the front was getting, the Russians were coming west and crossing the Polish border. And one morning on the 3rd of August, we woke up in the elaborate bunker and we heard rough men's voices, and it was not in Polish, it was not in German, it was Russians. The Russians were there. Now what do? How do we get out? We cannot expose our hosts to the facts and to the knowledge of their neighbors that they shut at 5 Jews. And that would look good. In the meantime, Madame Zalewska was very fluent in Russian. So she took Elsa and they ran to the headquarters with the Russians to tell them what's happening. I mean, this man is not a German spy, he saved 5 Jews. He comes in, he's stunned to see those pasty-faced people dressed, not very elaborately, patched up, all kinds of things. I'm showing them all hiding places. He was stunned. He sent his adjutant at night in the cover of darkness, and he took us out to a house that they had positioned for their purpose. The Russians helped us go back east, where there was already a provisional Polish government and Russian agents in the route. Where we got up and the trials and tribulations, thanks, and the Russian soldiers who are young kids, and most of them did lose people in the war, were very kind to us and they helped us to get there. By the time we got there, we found out that there were, at the time, as we spoke, they were evacuating, they were shipping Jews out of my hometown, out of Lodgebridge. They renamed Wiesmanstadt to Auschwitz. And then we heard about the extermination camps. In the meantime, in December, they opened a medical school, and Esther and I went in to take the entrance examination. And as I was taking notes, I said, one of us will have to make a nice living somehow. And I really wanted to be a doctor, but gone to medical school because it was difficult. He got in, and he was in the first medical school class after the operation. And Sam, his brother, waited for polytechnic opening. And my hometown opened Warsaw, Krakow were liberated, and Auschwitz were liberated. We went back to my hometown, and we saw those people coming back in camps. Women who couldn't tell their age or sex. People were indescribably nondescriptive, driving and looked around and felt maybe my mother, my sister came back, maybe they're looking for me. But we found people who came back from camps and they told us that on that 6th of October, when Munich was cleared out, everybody was shipped straight to Treblinka, gassed and cremated, and nobody ever came back. On the 3rd of August 1945, my father came back after 5 concentration camps. He came from Buchenwald, where he was liberated by the American Army. He was in good shape. He was 46 years old. He looked 35. He was very handsome and wonderful. And what do we do now? And we packed up and we went west, out from under the Russians and the Poles. And it's a long story. We wound up in Munich, continued education, got married, had a baby, and came to this country on July 21st, 1949. My in-laws, my brother-in-law, my husband, I, and our little baby, Nico, who was 11 months old. He's 57 now. And we came here to this wonderful country and we had a great life. And we had 3 more children. This is number 3. And we have 7 grandchildren, extremely accomplished. Give us great pleasure and joy. Unfortunately, my husband died at the age of 69 of heart disease. He practiced medicine for 4 years. He was a born healer. He was a wonderful man. And here we are. My last candle. I never let my mother go. And my sister Helena. And a memory of 1.5 million children destroyed.
My sister and I would now like to read from my grandfather's memoir. On Sunday, October 4th, old Mr. Zals, Rodan and John's father, came by horse and wagon to retrieve us. That morning, my father had been put to work unloading some trucks, but we didn't know where exactly. Thus, we were in a terrible climate. We were supposed to leave under the cover of darkness, but Father could not be located. While looking for Father that morning, I visited Esther, who was my girlfriend. Although I was not sure of my feelings at the time, the sight of her made me blurt out where we were going and with whom. This was a closely guarded secret at that time. I apparently was not aware of the terrible dangers awaiting us. We were supposed to hide out for several weeks and then come back to our home, or so we believed. Esther didn't know it then, but remembering those names would later save her life. I said goodbye to Esther with a great deal of emotion and guilt for leaving her behind, but I had no other choice.
The very next day, which was Monday, I experienced the most recriminating lesson of my life. Esther appeared at the Zals, looking for us. The Zals, especially Madame Zaleska, told it as a betrayal of a life-threatening secret. I was attacked by everybody, and in essence told that if my family perished, the fault would be mine alone. They speculated that whoever took Esther to Guatemala knew where we were hiding, and therefore we were all in danger. In their conversation with Esther, when she arrived, the Zals denied that we were there. They told her that we had gone to Germany as laborers and sent her away. She wandered for a couple days, trying to hold a job as a teacher, in a farmer's family. But she was finally turned out, and her false papers were taken away from her. She returned to the Zals for help, and eventually, after several discussions on existence, he promised that whatever we had for food or other necessities, Esther would share. This deed, of course, turned out to be the fundamental event in my life and the foundation of my family, for which I am so eternally grateful.